Hey everyone, welcome to Critical Conversations, the Storytellers Tales podcast. Today I have on with me the magnificent Brimvor, player of Oscar, player of Merlet. Take him as you take him.
As you can see, I'm clearly magnificent. Not at all looking like a homeless person.
I mean, I've seen worse. Have you seen Rapid? I'm just kidding. But anyway,
okay.
I told you that this was basically me giving you shit publicly, but I don't know. I might be firing shots at Rapid.
I wasn't expecting you to shoot a Rapid so quickly.
I don't know. I'm trying to provoke him so that he gets on this too. You know, if I poke the bear enough, he'll have to come out of the cave. But
yeah,
I'm happy to have you on. With me on this. This is gonna be our first episode because the recording me and Mithril did entirely messed up audio wise. That's my fault. I should have done an audio check, but you know, I don't pay attention to anything. But yeah, so you're the first person for the podcast.
Nice.
Yep. So I brought you on mainly because me and you have different opinions on the 2024 core rulebook stuff.
I wouldn't say different, but like I'm more optimistic and you're just like full blown hand grenade. I hate this thing.
Now I gotta say again, I don't hate it. I don't hate everything about it. I like some things. Like I love the concept, and like I read over the Bastion system. That's an awesome thing. I'm excited about that because that brings in a whole nother kind of play field. I mean, I know they said this is for the DM not to touch and harm, but I'm gonna siege their Bastion. And they're gonna siege other people's Bastions. Simple as that. But, you know, it just gives kind of some more depth and a kind of a safe haven for players as long as it's not getting attacked. And I do kind of like some of the changes done. I mean, what?
I think we might align more, especially after I've been like, because at first I was highly optimistic, but then like with like the test stuff that they were putting out, but then like they like pretty much just like
scrapped it.
Yeah, like they brought back everything. Like just I wanted paladins to have that option to shoot people with bows and then smite them. That's a cool thing. Paladins should do that. You should have ranged paladins. Why not
rain down holy fire?
Why can't we have my shotgun paladin with like smiting people as he shotguns them? But yeah, they pretty much have no I don't, why is the word escaping me? It's not courage, but like guts or
the backbone, the spine.
Yes, that they don't have a spine when it comes to their changes, because they pretty much just they didn't even take the constructive criticism. They just
they threw
scaled everything. They scaled everything back to how it is now, and they added a few things, which I like. A few of the things they added.
Yes, that's my standpoint.
What the? Come on.
They reversed the fact of what you were excited about, which was all about the whole like oh man, what was it? The divine smite thing, right? Like
I was most excited about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the druid thing, I think they should have had like combat wild shape, and you have a stat block.
They entirely did away with the stat block. Now you pick two wild shapes, and then at every long rest you can pick two.
Worse.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's entirely worse because guess what? When you're as a person who's played a druid in a serious campaign, Druids suck. Okay,
hey,
I want to like them.
Stars Druid is good. I'm sorry, nothing can beat a cleric. Can't even stand toe to toe with a Stars Druid healing capability. Okay.
Okay, but like, there's so many things wrong with druids. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
fire druid not getting like access to good fire spells, and just like, and
I mean, light domain does for clerics. Why can't druids get
all the druids don't get good spells. They get these crappy wonky spells that like they may like. I understand if you can't have them have the same spells as wizards, because like lore wise, like they take the magic from the nature, and the wizard just like is like
technically
fireball.
Divine. They're technically classified as divine spellcasters, so they generally have on par with what divine spellcasters get. But sorcerer is also classified as divine. Not even close. It's not. It's not. It's not.
Because cleric has like so many direct abilities, but the druid has like these weird around like, oh, it doesn't do the same amount of damage, but it can be like beneficial if you use it in this way, and like,
yeah, you have to be creative to be able to use their spells, their stuff properly, and that honestly is a little bit annoying
in a situation where you're not like, hey, maybe that works in Baldur's Gate where you control everybody, but in a situation where everybody's acting on their own, and maybe some people listen to you, maybe some people don't, then like you aren't going to be able to use the druid to his full potential, because like one of the most powerful druid abilities like is like, I mean, at the time before I had to step away from playing Oscar, my most powerful druid spell was Firewall.
Hasn't happened yet in the videos that have come out. That was a spoiler. Okay. But
sorry, I didn't know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Just know we will hopefully, everybody, bring Oscar back. I know Oscar has been shown to be one of the more favorited characters, and hopefully, when Brimvor's schedule opens up, we can bring him back. I'm really hoping for that. But yeah.
School and life, guys. School and life.
But it's okay, because Oscar, the character, may take a leave of absence, but we saw that with Gorez, and now Gorez is back. But yeah, we just dropped episode 55, which is right after the episode at the club, at the fantasy club. Yeah. So Oscar hasn't left yet. Even to this point, Oscar hasn't technically left. The player has, but the character's still there.
Yeah, it's just I was working on something right there too, and that actually makes me upset that I left. But
yeah, well, don't worry, because you know, me and you are still talking all the time, and we still have a plan for Oscar. Even if down the road things don't make it to where you can come back full time, Oscar has a story that needs to be told, and I'd love to tell that story for Oscar, because it's a good one, guys. It's a good one. What we have planned, it's good. It's real good. It's heart-wrenching. And oh man, Oscar, like his song that we put out, is a very sad character, but I love that because he's rich. But you know, honestly though, I still love his little training arc with Dandelion.
And just getting tortured nonstop.
Made him stronger, though. I mean, I mean, it made him stronger.
I mean, I wanted Oscar to be a shape-changing druid, but then like, which is kind of like where like I like going back to what we were originally talking about. This is why I liked the concept of using a stat block. I didn't like the stat block, but like being able to change into whatever you wanted while having a combat block makes it only helps role playing, and it only helps the player feel cool. Like it only makes the player feel better about like their wild shape and stuff like that. It like, I understand like you could have utility wild shape where you actually wild shape into a set stat block, of a specific creature, so you can like turn into a mouse and crawl down a hole. And then you have your combat wild shape, and say you still wanted to be a mouse. Now you're a giant mouse. And
now you're a
like,
massive,
ripping people up,
10-foot tall mouse.
Yeah. You're
God, that's
ripping people apart.
a whole nother take on Ratatouille. So that's the thing, is like you're on this shtick of druids, and I'm gonna stay on this shtick. My ADHD has locked in hard. What do you like? Have you read the the subclasses for 2024's druids?
I did actually get into the druid because I was like, hey, maybe they fixed it. And no, it's exactly the same.
The only thing, like, Star's druid has only like one change, and that is that you can cast guiding bolts free a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier instead of just 2 times, which is awesome. You know, at level with a 20 wisdom, you have 5 free shots, but that's at level 1, and by the time you have like that, unless you're doing rolled stats, then you're only really doing 3 or 4. But the moon druid, what do you think about them being able to teleport and do radiant damage? Yeah, moon druids they're more focused on the moon thing. They got rid of the elemental wild shape, and now they teleport, and they do radiant damage. I don't think they have I don't know if they took out combat wild shape, but
okay.
I know they took away where
they get the higher combat rating.
Okay, so they still get the higher combat rating, but I know they took away where you don't take the health points of your of the wild shape. You just get temporary hit points equal to something like your wisdom or your druid level, something like that.
Yeah, you gain temporary hit points equal to 3 times your druid level.
Yeah, so basically you're just like getting temp hit points, and we all know how temp hit points work. If more temp hit points are given to you, depending on the DM ruling, I've seen some DMs say that if you get new temporary hit points, it replaces the old ones, or if you get higher temporary hit points, it replaces the one that's lesser. So depending on what DM you have, that could suck. Because if like someone drops a thing that gives temporary hit points and it gives like 4, when you have like, I don't know, 28, and you lose all those 28, and you're like, well, fuck. what am I gonna do now? Like, yeah. And that's the thing, is like when your temporary hit points go down, do you lose your wild shape? If that's the case, then I feel like at this point you're losing wild shape faster than you are.
I don't think that's what they're doing.
Well, then what drops you out of wild shape?
That's the thing. They are, at least in the player handbook, because I haven't bought the DM handbook.
I don't think the DMG would tell that. That's the thing, is if it's not in the player's handbook, I don't think the DMG is going to tell us, oh, this knocks a druid out. Like, wouldn't that tell us on the druid shit?
I'm pulling up wild shape itself.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like it's kind of half-assed and could have been done in another Tasha's Cauldron, like an expanded rules. It didn't need to be done because, in my opinion, all they're doing is just revising CRs in the monster manual and adding some more monsters. They're not changing the monsters as they are, like they've done in every other edition. I mean, again, this is my opinion. I could be completely misunderstanding or misinterpreting, or my knowledge could be that of a speck. But this is what I've noticed, and so this is what I can talk on. But yeah, I just think it could have been put as. What's up?
Here we go. You stay in that form for a number of hours equal to half your druid level, or until you use wild shape again, have the incapacitated condition, or die. So basically, you are now said creature.
Until you go down. Or until
you go down.
You determine not to be, or for those hours.
Yep.
So there's no way to knock you out of wild shape except for to knock you down, unlike in previous editions where you could get knocked out if the hit points went down. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily like that, but
I don't like it either because like a big disadvantage of wild shape that was offset by having huge, massive health, like the new health of the monster that you're shapeshifting into, is that animals have crap AC.
Oh, 100%.
Or they either have crap health and good AC, or they have crap AC
and
now
really you just have your terrible ass druid health with the terrible ass AC.
You choose the in between, they have bad AC and bad health. Like
but they normally hit like a truck when that happens. Like, but
yeah,
it's
like a gorilla. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
Oh man, that reminds me.
Crazy damage.
You never got to do your Fire Sword Gorilla.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to see Fire Sword Gorilla so badly. Dude, Fire Sword Rocktopus would have been funny too.
Oh man, it never ended up working out, and it's just like because that's the thing. Druids had like wild shape is not a good mechanic. Like really,
I mean, we are probably pissing off a ton of druid players right now, but
okay, this is our opinion.
Tell us how we're wrong. Tell us how we're wrong in the comments. I'd love to hear how we are wrong. Please let me know.
But
point them at Brim, not me.
In my objective opinion, yes, I'll take all the hate. Bring it on. In my objective opinion, wild shape is not a good mechanic because when you're fighting powerful creatures and powerful monsters that have that are designed to hit your fighter that has 18 AC and
like the things
a crap ton of health,
like +8 to their hit or +12 to their hit. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to hit you like wild shape into a gorilla, grizzly bear. Yes, they have good things about them, but objectively they're not as good as a fighter or
a barbarian,
even a rogue. I mean, rogues do a lot of damage, but even a rogue without sneak attack, they're not as good as a rogue without sneak attack. That's how bad wild shape is, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's super good out of combat, and I like the concept of combat wild shape that Moon Druid did, especially when you combo that with Bear Totem Barbarian, but it's the other downside of it is until later levels you also can't cast a spell while you're in it, and so I don't think that has changed in 2024. I think you still can't cast spells while you're in it.
How Baldur's Gate fixed this is they made individual stat blocks for those animals that improved as you got better. D&D doesn't have that.
No.
They haven't put in the work to have that.
They could have. They were talking about it. It was in the playtest material.
But that's why I was like, okay, if they continue on this stat block idea, we could have you wild shape into anything and have decent AC. I wasn't expecting wizards to have good AC on wild shape, to be honest. Yeah. I wasn't expecting the wild shape to do damage, but I was expecting it at least to be usable, because monk is the worst class, but hey, at least it's usable. That's typically
and I mean, even I'm known for breaking things, for making super broken builds and getting them banned from games. Brim has banned a few of my builds from games.
You literally, I made a Skyrim game, and you literally made a sneak archer build and was killing everything before other players could even get to them.
Yeah. I straight up Bugs Bunnied under some snow as it was a reflavor of a tabaxi as a Khajiit, and I was a snow leopard that would stealth under some snow, popped up behind an ogre and insta-killed it with an assassin Gloomstalker, and it was nasty, super nasty. But I mean, if we're gonna go talk about, I'm gonna bring up something. We're talking about broken builds banned from games, Brim.
That's not even broken build. I just played an artificer.
I couldn't hit you with 3 dragons, and you were throwing them around like they were rag dolls.
Okay.
X1.
All you people wondering, I built okay. I'm a Warforged artificer, and we had gotten to pretty high level.
Yep.
I had taken Shield Master, and I was using the armor class, and pretty much I was giving enemy disadvantage on hits by hitting them with the defender style, while at the same time, every time they would impose a dexterity saving throw on me, I'd use
Shield Master.
Yeah, and you add AC to your.
Yep, and you also they were fire dragons, and so they're dex based, and if you basically get kind of like evasion with that, and so I could not, for the life of me, deal damage to him, and get the dragons to run away because because he also had Sentinel. And the way that, this is also kind of on me because one of our house rules is that opportunity attack does not eat up your reaction. As long as you have your reaction, you can do an opportunity attack as many times as an enemy moves away from you. So if like 4 enemies move away, you can attack all 4. But if you've used up your reaction, you no longer get that opportunity attack.
Mine was broken because of the house rule. It wasn't really broken.
No, because it was still super broken because when even I didn't know how to play your character, but when Brim left that game because he had to, and at the end there, I had
a theme, by the way.
Yeah, it is a thing. It is a thing. Yeah. But I had X1 get taken over by the enemy, and he flipped on the party and attacked the party, and it took all of the party to take X1 down, and it downed 3 of the party and almost killed one of them. When
if I had been using it, I would have killed them all.
Yeah. If he would have been using it, he would have probably killed them all because I didn't know what the heck I was doing with this build, and I still was kicking some butt. Like that was like what, 4 people versus 1 player character, and
yeah, it was like that.
It was like it was harder than the final boss. Like the players said that X1 was harder than the final boss was, and that was a Great Worm Dragon.
Yeah.
So
artificers are crazy, by the way.
They can get really crazy. Yeah.
They're not conventionally powerful, but like they all do their weird little thing that just is kind of crazy.
It was also the magic items X1 had too, which is why whenever we run a one shot and I see X1 pop into the freaking, because we use D&D Beyond, so we use the campaign thing. So as soon as I see X1 pop in, I'm like, no.
I do it mostly as a joke.
Yep. He's just like, I'm gonna play X1. No.
Looks like X1 and Cat's like, no.
But yeah, no, like it's building characters that are broken are fun, but it's hard to build, like, going back to the point, like I build broken characters. You know, I can tend to break anything pretty quickly. I've had a character who had over 60 AC and I couldn't be touched. And so like it's pretty easy to break things in D&D if you just understand the number set, the rule sets, the house rules of the DM that you're kind of going into, and the classes themselves. But Druid is one of the ones that are probably the hardest to break. Like they're I don't know. I don't see how Monk is the least played class over Druid.
Well, like, Druid, that's the thing. Magic. Like, spells aren't good as Wizard, but magic is so much better than anything the Monk has. Like,
that's true.
Just objectively.
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, I love monks.
Oh yeah.
Artificer monks. That's my everything. Actually, Wizard Artificer monks. But
don't forget your paladins. You love your paladins.
Yeah, but
talking about paladins, I mean, your first character that you really actually enjoyed playing, I think you tried playing a second time, was from a character from the first Grand Quest that we had ever played. The first game me and you ever played together, as me as a DM, and it was Xander, I believe his name was. Yeah, Xander. Yeah, that was funny. We had a full-on like addiction moment that did not play out well. The party did not handle that well. Like, they tried to do a intervention, but it was not a good intervention.
I think so. We won't name names because like this person doesn't play with us anymore. But I think someone was letting their personal life experiences influence their character a little too much.
Yeah, but I mean
still, they're what they decided to do was grab me and
Griffith, Rapid's character, grabbed you, and then they started walking. The other person, the one we're talking about, started walking towards you while casting a spell that your character did not know, which it turned out to be Greater Restoration.
Yeah, they were planning to cure my addiction, but I was like, my character was like, "What are you doing?" No one answered. "What are you doing?" No one answered. Consent, and like I started screaming consent in the thing, and then I just like, I was an Oathbreaker, so I just aura of dreaded everybody and ran away.
Yeah, summoned a Greater Steed and flew off. It was thanks to Mithril's character Mithril that he even came back. Like,
yeah, because she went after me and talked me back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and they like it was a tense moment because it was like unnecessarily.
I was having a blast. Yeah, I was like laughing. I was laughing.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing, is that some of those moments that you think are like, oh, this is PvE. I mean, this is PvP. PvP. Some of those moments, if done right, or with the right ideal or acceptance of like, this is just character stuff, this isn't on me or anything like that, it can be some of the funnest things. Like, it's super great. But
speaking of which, we have had the opposite of that happen, and it's been my fault.
In the same game.
So like, this is my first real game of D&D. So I was like, I'm gonna be a wizard, but a wizard who's a thief. Turns out that's kind of hard to pull off and not something you should do for your first character ever.
Yeah.
Like, I played D&D, but not like an actual campaign. And so like Pat killed that character for me, and then like,
which I love to do.
Yeah, which let me bring in a bard. The bard, and then I actually did something cool with the story. I made my old character basically warlock, possession patron, my new character, so that, because I kind of felt bad about just ditching my old character.
So he was like, I'm gonna make this character. Dude, one thing Brim has that a lot of people lack, in my experience, is the ability to weave all of their characters together. Like his wizard character Wisp was connected to his bard character Runara, and then turns out that Wisp is connected to Xander.
Yeah, and they just
like, it was cool because it's like Wisp is actually Xander's long lost son that, due to an explosion in the Ogon Union, got sent to a whole nother continent, which was Aulor, and he grew up thinking he didn't have any parents and stuff like that. But Xander was, he had been punished for being blamed for the explosion and left to go find his son and all sorts of things. But like, it was cool. It was really cool.
I appreciate Pat. He always was like, I'm like, crazy idea. He's like, he'll hear me out, and then he'll be like, sometimes he'll be like, no, but then most of the time you're like, yes, but let's work it into the story this way.
That's a good DM tip right there. Yes, and is always great, but yes, but can be just as good.
Yeah.
Like, understanding that there are like limits to a story, and to make it more realistic and feeling more true, because if you're just like, oh, let's add, or yes, this works, that's fine, whatever, then it's gonna kind of create this broken ground that might hold up. But if you say yes, but here's some plot holes, let's fix these up, or let's make some plot holes, like.
That's honestly why Oscar frustrated me so much, because I was originally coming in with a much happier go-lucky
and I told him no.
You told me make a darker character.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. And I'm like competing for like one of the top 2 spots of darkest character stories after I came up with my character story.
To be fair though, he definitely, like, behind the scenes, he definitely won. He definitely won. There was no competition. I think the closest to you was either Kane or Sif, but like overall, what happened to Oscar is way bad. And we're talking about this. Some of the viewers are gonna really want to see this, so you better come back.
I'll work on it. It's just things are hard.
You can't let all the people watch.
Schedule it. BBEG. Okay.
Yeah. Schedule you in as a BBEG.
We had to move to Sunday. I can't do Sundays. So
yeah, we had to move it. We've had to move Grand Quest like 3 times, record date wise, because it's schedules are always changing, and it's hard. Like, I think because we started production on we've been recording some episodes and started pre-production on Out of the Abyss. And turns out that we might have to move the recording day to a different day that Brim sadly cannot play on. And we're really hoping that we don't, but also at the same time, the reason why we're doing it is a good reason. But like, I don't like that we're losing Brim in so many things. Brim, stop leaving.
It's just I used to be able to play D&D a lot more. Now I can't play it as much. Just life.
Yeah, life happens. I mean, the motto of our server and of Storytellers is life comes first, D&D comes last. Everything that has to do with life. I mean, D&D is a game. D&D is fun. It's stress relieving, but at the same time, it's a game. We can play it for the rest of our lives. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that
that's why, like, druids frustrate me. Is Oscar is such a good character, and then I can't mechanically, he doesn't work.
No,
the way, like, I can't be a part of the team if I'm getting like
nope,
because that was actually happening in the episodes. Like, I was just like shape shifting, and Pet's just like slap. But like
giant creature shows up. What do you think they're gonna do?
Yeah, I'm not blaming you, Pat. I'm saying, like,
no, you can blame me. It's okay. I enjoy it.
Monster goes slap, and Oscar goes, oh, poof. I'm instantly down. Like, because I understand that druids are super complex to balance, which is kind of why I was hoping for this like D&D 2024 to
to fix it,
to at least take a step in the right direction. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to fix anything.
Oh yeah, it's basically just 5.
I understand the mind process. I think I understand the mind process of the people working at D&D Beyond. I mean,
Wizard of the Coast.
At Wizards of the Coast. Like, you have creative people, and they're trying to do their best, and then you have, like, corporate, and then they're trying to, like, you need to do certain things this way.
Yeah, it's that time push and that time crunch and that, like, expectation. It's the same thing that
and happens. Then you have fans, and they're like pitchforks and torches.
Especially
and,
nowadays. Like, I don't know, dude. 5e fans.
I don't blame the fans, because, like, holy crap, Wizards, get your shit together.
Yeah, the whole OGL thing, and then several other things down, just like right after each other. Like, yeah. But hey, props to the fans, the community for not allowing that to happen. Like, if only our game community would, like, our AAA game community would have stood up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been nice.
I feel bad for, like, the actual person that's like not trying to push an agenda, that's like being like, I want to create a cool wizard that people can play, and in their spare time and like stuff like that. And it's just being like, because I was liking the changes to wizards. Wizards are exactly the same now.
Oh yeah, they're basically the exact same. Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get spell be able to manipulate spells.
And paladins are way worse. Now you have to cast a spell as a bonus action to divine smite. That can be countered.
I don't know. I actually think smite is a little too strong, and being able to counter
that's the thing,
a reason.
Is you could have just made it a bonus action. You didn't have to make it a spell that could be countered.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, making it a bonus action and not just a free action where you're just like at the end of an attack, because then that brings up like a dual wielding paladin. Like at level 3, yes, paladins are basically the equivalent of a dynamite stick. Once you use it, they're done.
You multi-class that up with fighter, so you can get action surge, and then you have enough spell slots.
Basically, the DM has to think, like, how am I going to survive within the first 3 turns? Because after that,
the paladin.
That paladin's done.
He's just a fighter now, a worse fighter.
Yeah, he's just a crappy fighter.
But it's later levels, paladins detonate. Like Xander was devastating.
I went up to, like, Pat introduces, like, this mini boss as, like, part of the main boss fight, and it was a one-on-one boss fight.
Yeah, it was when Mithril had turned to evil, and you were Mithril. You guys had defeated Mithril, and then she came back. She got back her mind because she was being mind controlled, and then she had to fight her husband, which was also had been turned to evil, and he was a half fiend, and he was very powerful. And he had summoned a fiend, a really high-level fiend, and it was a one-on-one fight, so Mithril had to choose somebody to fight with her, and she chose Xander. And Xander walked out and explained from there, Brim.
I just walked up to the demon, one-shot it, put my sword away, pointed at
it was a CR12.
Her husband, and was like, "Don't make me come out here again," and walked back to the sidelines.
He was just like, "I'm the true MVP here. I'm the final boss." Like, it was a CR12 fiend, and he's just bop. But the fight with
that is where a paladin shines.
Yeah, like, one-on-one fight. Yeah. But that fight with the homebrew Melania, that was Rapid's character Griffith.
That
made me
mother. Feel so like insignificant. Like, I'm just like
immune to radiant damage, like resistant to slashing damage from Matt. Like, it's just like he's hitting her and she's just ignoring him.
Yeah, that was a big tonal change for my character, because at that point, like, I had become like the heaviest hitter.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, that fight was rough.
And then she was just ignoring me, and I'm like, because Xander, all right, this is one of them. Like, Xander was actually taking advantage of a very powerful homebrew that is now banned in our group.
Overdrive.
At the time, we didn't realize how strong it was. Like, we thought, oh, it's balanced because I instituted like penalties for you. Basically, it was haste.
Not big enough penalties.
Yeah, it was casting haste on oneself as a feat, not as a spell.
As in
and it had negative penalties. Penalties were not strong enough, and I don't know how to balance it to make it good enough, because like it is just that broken of a feature. But basically, I was super fast to cast a spell and attack per turn, and like, so I was all over the place helping people during that fight, and I still couldn't do anything.
Nope, it was a hard fight, like a really hard fight. Like, I think if Mithril hadn't made a comment about her being a shit mother, and grabbing Melania's attention and pointing it directly to her, I think so many people would have died.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Melania, It was
no, it was like it was
a
homebrew.
Pat's. I mean, it was
I based
it was Rapid's character's mother.
Yeah,
but he used a stat block for Melania.
Yeah, Rapid. Wasn't exactly Melania. We say Melania because the homebrew was Melania. But Rapid's character was based on a Dark Souls character, Griffith. Griffith Ornstein, and which is why, because that character was so strong, which is that's why I implemented his family line, because he had made it different than the Dark Souls Ornsteins. Me and him together have worked like a whole like backstory and everything.
Actually, I think Griffith was like a fusion between Berserk and
he was Dark a fusion Souls. Between Berserk and Dark Souls, but like he had made it. He had made it so much of its own thing, and I enjoyed the concept of it, and that I kept it. I have three things. So I have world lore, personal lore, and concept lore. Concept lore is like something that's like, we could create something off of this, but it's right now it's just sitting in the maybe bin. And then world lore is, this is the world. This is in every rendition of Grand Quest, this is what's here. And then personal lore is within this rendition of Grand Quest, this is here, but it's not in everything else. But I had fallen in love with that storyline so much that I was like, no, Ornstein is here. So that's why in Alfrain, Ornstein Keep is still there, and Griffith is still there. And What's up?
I want to give Rapid crap because he loves Dark Souls lore, but he's never played a Dark Souls game. And I've played them all pretty much. Like I haven't finished the second one.
He's a challenge runner. That's what Brim is. He'll play it until all the challenges are done.
I honestly sat and played. I finished a playthrough of Elden Ring in like 8 hours, just sitting. Like, I know people can play it in like 2 hours. I've seen it done. Like, but that for me, not like a challenge run YouTuber. I sat there and played for 8 hours straight, and I was just like, oh. Honestly, actually, if I hadn't tried to go for the madness ending, I could have got it done faster. But
no, like falling. That is the thing. Like that fight was awesome, and probably one of the most humbling things for Xander, because afterwards Xander never had like a big ego, but he did have faith in his capability as a fighter, and thought that he was bigger and better. Well, I don't think he thought that he was bigger and better, but he definitely seemed bigger and better than most of the party when it came to damage and utility. But that fight humbled him.
I mean, I definitely thought he was bigger and better. Yeah. I was like, Xander. I played Xander without pride.
Yeah.
And more like
because his pride had been shattered. Yeah, he was supposed to be the suffering hero archetype.
Guys, if you want cool stuff done to your character, tell your DM to be mean to your character.
That's every time Brim tells me.
I don't tell you every time, but that was
much.
Xander was the first time.
Yeah, Xander, he had told me, he's like, I'm bringing this character in, and the first thing he said is, I want this character to suffer. I want this character to have bad things constantly happen to them. I don't want this character to be happy. And so, I very much did that. He tried drugs
for the first time and he gets addicted.
Yeah, yeah, he got addicted, and then the intervention that was supposed to help him went poorly. He found out his son is a twisted demon-like creature. He was supposed to die by Wisp.
Oh man, we derailed a lot because I was gonna bring up like that whole story, like.
Oh yeah. See, ADHD. Let that ADHD fly in this podcast. That's what we do.
Why I had to bring in Xander is because I was playing a secret evil character
that did not work well.
And
especially there's already another one.
There was an opportunity. Yeah, that I wish. I made mine first. I will say that.
yeah. He's developed into kind of a bad guy character, but I think he won. He ate the world.
Yeah. But yeah, he did win. But anyway, so Wisp was corrupting my new character Renara, and she was a bard, warlock.
Yep.
And slowly becoming more and more warlock as time went on, as Wisp corrupted her more and more.
Hexblade, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Wisp had been absorbed into a sword.
Yep. And that was why.
Yeah.
It wasn't a traditional hexblade. It was like my own.
Yeah, it was like a reflavored, altered hexblade.
Anyways, during this mind control fight, like another character was being mind controlled, and she was getting near death. And this thing about Wisp as a sword is that more people he had directly killed, he would get stronger and become more powerful. And so that was my character motivation. So I figured in my brain, I'll kill this person who's a guest character, by the way.
Yeah, and had said it, like, note that it went down south real quick. Like, that's the moral of the story. Don't do it.
Yeah.
They did say, like, if they die, they die, you know. But like, their opinion on they die had more rules and line than just if they die, they die. But like, yeah, continue the story.
Pretty much. This isn't. Never attack another player unless you talk to them about it first.
Yep. That's the moral of the story. Yep. PvP is okay when PvP is agreed upon.
Like, above table, you acknowledge, hey, my character's probably going to attack you if you do this. Are you okay with that? I've done that in other games.
Yeah, that's actually kind of like, Rapid is very well known for doing that, like saying like, hey, if I'm just letting you know, if your character does this, my character will attack you. So if you're okay with that, we'll go forward. But Rapid's really good about telling people.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, so like, person was close to death. I had it all reasoned out in my mind, and I was trying to keep this a secret. So like, I was like, I'm gonna. At the same time, the other evil character was also like, I'm gonna kill this person, and so, the mind control broke. But I was gonna use excuse. My character was gonna say, "Oh, I didn't know," and like try to charisma.
Which was the same reason the other character also was gonna use.
Anyways, we're both trying to kill this character, and
the whole party,
like everybody, like started getting upset. Like
character-wise, they jumped on them. Like they had like grabbed them, healed the person, and they, it was just like, it was a tense moment, like a stupidly tense moment. We had to stop the game. I had to talk to Brim separately, talk to Yone separately, because Yone was the other character. Of course, he ate the world. I mean, we're gonna talk about that when Yone gets on, about him eating the world and all this shit. But I had to bring in the person who was the victim in this situation, for sure, 100%, and talk to them. And then we brought we brought everyone back in.
I instigated it, so it was mostly my fault.
Well, I'm the DM. I have to take responsibility of that too. I didn't stop it. I should have, but we learned.
And I mean, not to shift any of the blame. I did message you beforehand. I thought that was enough. That's not enough. It's not enough to message the DM.
And that's where 100% it is also my fault there. So DMs, learn from this mistake if you haven't already learned, or if you are a person who's okay with PvP, don't. Just don't be okay with it. It doesn't end well, ever.
Well, it depends if you have the right group.
Yes, if you have the right group and it's a 100% talked out thing, 100% agreed upon thing, and it's a planned thing. If it's a planned thing, or it doesn't end in a possible character's actual death, and like, then yeah, it could work. It could work. But if it's not talked about, not planned, not agreed on, and it could end with a player's death, I just don't do it. Don't do it. It's hard to pull off. It's really hard to pull off. But yeah, that was probably the roughest moment in that game.
Yeah, honestly, like, it was a bunch of taking sides and like,
yeah.
But at the end of it, I was like, well, we had to retcon a few things, and because it didn't work out, my character was like, I'm like, well, crap. Now I just revealed myself to
it kind of
everybody.
Yeah, and so
like that not working out.
Yeah, the main BBG showed up and offered him a place in power, and
Pat had to warp some things.
Wisp took it, and that's where Xander. Well, next was another character that got brought in.
Oh yeah.
Which did not survive. I killing them off too.
Okay, so I tried making a good character, like a moral character.
Because the party wasn't all the way moral. As this has been pointed out, none of the characters were moral.
Yeah, but like his morality did not work with the group. Like, it's funny how like the group would be like upset about some things, but like then like totally flippant about other things.
Yeah.
And this character was like,
what the hell's going on here?
Objectively good, and like,
oh,
so
man.
he ended up having to leave because like I'm like, Pat, I could make this character do like, but I don't want to. Like, this is not the character. I was like, that's fine. And then I asked, like, I was like, hey, I want to kind of reveal Wisp and Renara as a reoccurring bad guy for the party. Is it okay if I kill this character? And Brim's like, yeah. And so the guest character that had gotten attacked woke up the next day with the other character in their room dead. Yeah.
Oh,
poor Grat.
But no, honestly, that party was not moral. They were heroes by definition because they did tend to save overall, but
it's a chaotic neutral party for all
things
things
panned out. They're like, we beat the BBEG. Sure, we set your country on fire doing it, but we did
do that.
We did save your country. Once the fires are gone, it's okay. And then they'll leave without fixing any of the things they caused.
The fact that one of our characters ended up becoming like a major like terrorist and like warlord.
Mithril carved a bloody path through the freaking countryside just to kill. Oh man. Oh,
and then she thinks I stole her child.
That's because of me. 100%. I made Mithril see Mithril's character. She was leaving that character for a little bit, because her character had a child, and so the child was born, and the child had grown up pretty quickly due to magic. But the thing is the party left, and I had used one of the BBG's underlings to pretend to be Renara. And kidnapped the child. Trigger warning, with the sometimes people get upset with that. But anyways, took the kid.
Typically that comes before, but
I'm sorry. I'm terrible. My brain don't think. I speak before I think.
We're just talking here. If that proves anything that we're not professionals and we're just talking here, that.
This ain't scripted. But no, like I had made the person look like them, and they had used a true polymorph. And when they tried to, Mithril tried to use insight, and got a pretty high score of insight, and so she picked up on the intention. She picked up on the fact, like. She realized that this was Renara, but because she hadn't rolled high enough or she didn't use some way to detect magic, all she could do was see that this is Renara. The intention is to take my kid. And it succeeded. They took him. The BBG held on to the kid, And actually, the BBG had no intention of harming the children whatsoever. Like, at all. Like, the BBG had no intention of it. In fact, they are what I would call a lawful evil. They have hard morals. But like, and it started the creep of mind control, because their advisor was actually the one who did it, and it was like they had been given poison mentally about different things, and eventually mind control took over, and she turned evil.
It's always the advisor. It's just like
it's always the advisor,
Butler.
Like Jafar.
Like, it's just a total stereotype.
Well, it's because they're always right there, so who better to do it, right? Like,
I know.
It's not the farmer down the road.
I don't feel like people acknowledge that stereotype too much.
No, they don't, but it is a very, very prominent thing. But, oh man. So, another thing, with us talking about, DM choices, DM learning things and stuff like that, I kind of want to know, like, Brim, what I have something that I learned. We already kind of talked on it, but I learned that, like, yes and doesn't work all the time. We've already talked about this. Yes ands, they're great, but don't run it by it. And when I used to be really big yes and then I flipped the script because I realized it wasn't really being good for the game or the characters or the players. I had over-strictified myself. I started running strict shit, like saying no to everything, and that didn't work. Thankfully, I picked up on that faster than I picked up on the other thing, and that's kind of where I've been kind of finding my balance. It's still a work in progress, but what is the one DM lesson you learned that has given you the best DM advice that you could give somebody? Like, and what is that thing? Because, like,
your players are the best storytellers. Like, that's just whatever. Yeah. If you're making a story, like, let them just do it. Like, make an outline. Let them, like, don't. On the opposite side of that, the other lesson I learned. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Mithril. Thanks for Ethan. Is that if you give your players too much leeway, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, type deal. Like, but at the same time, it's not like, oh, be super strict. Like, there's a reason. I think, like, part of it's like scheduling and things like that, and like I get, like,
you like to pick the worst days. Like,
those are the days I'm available.
I know, but they're like the worst days. I like look right now. I'm trying.
There's a reason why we don't have my any of the
short
campaigns.
The short campaigns
put up, and one of them would have been like would have worked, but everybody just ended up like turning on each other. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, we weren't really recording that one, but like that game, like,
yeah,
I was just like, can you guys not separate your players from yourselves for your characters from yourselves for 2 seconds? Like, you guys are getting upset about things your characters are doing, and like,
which is weird because normally the party that was in that, most of the party that was in that are very good at separating.
Yeah,
like,
I just think people are stepping on their toes too. Like,
yeah, well,
people's own personal quirks were stepping on each other's toes too as much, and I don't think I'm there as a DM yet where I have. I gotta definitely do more games, which is hard because
time.
Yeah, time. Like, you think I don't play? I'm dropping from games because, like, honestly, the reason why I'm known for it, the real reason, is because my schedule.
It flip flops. That thing is not stationary.
But it's just because, like, I was working as a IT contractor, and contracts kept ending, and so I'd have to go find new work and stuff like that. And then, so there, yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Life stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than working as a janitor.
Remember, you're the janitor of death, Brim.
I know.
Pineapples.
I was that for the longest
Rapid
time.
pineapples.
Okay, for anyone that doesn't know, pineapples is their safe word.
We made a joke. Yeah, we made a joke that Brim is the janitor of death because he knows how to dispose of a body, and nobody would expect it to be him. He's too nice of a guy. Like, Brim is one of the nicest people that we know.
But then me and Mithril had this conversation one day where we totally went over this plan to kill a bunch of people and hide the bodies, and like
me and Rapid watched it go down, and we're like, Brim is the janitor of death. And then he's like, Brim's like, be careful, I might come for you. And then immediately me and Rapper were at the same time, pineapples! And we realized that's our safe word. If Brim shows up at one of our doors, it's pineapples. And we have to immediately alert the others so they can start to flee the country.
Basically, it's an internal joke.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is that, like, I agree. Your characters are like the best way to build a story, but if you give them too much room, this kind of connects to the yes but situation.
Yeah, it is exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, but it. Honestly, I just said the same thing as you with just words.
Well, no, because it's a different aspect of it, because yours is more like the freedom to role play and to do those things in game, where mine is more of like the creation of said story. And like, so it's two sides of the same coin.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. Don't worry, the viewers won't even know. I edited that out. It's all good. But yeah, no, it's basically two sides of the same coin, but two very different aspects of that coin.
Yeah, because I honestly, that one game, which I kind of kicking myself for ending that game, because we did have a consistent player base. It just wasn't. I wanted everybody to be there, but I should have.
Oh, that one short
adapted.
The short
one
campaign.
where
I played Spark. The little
no,
dragon.
the other one.
The other one. The Adventure Party one.
The Adventure Party one.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
The one where Rapid discovered nukes.
Oh. That's another yes and situation that shouldn't happen.
No, I put that in the game. Okay, that was me. But
oh man,
I wasn't expecting. It's fine.
It's
we were
Rapid.
Just having fun.
You should expect it.
But Rapid. Okay. But, like, that game was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'll explain the story in a second. We'll get to the nukes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game a lot.
I should have just kept that one going, but, like... also... Alright. Here's one that I learned recently. Don't get so caught up that everybody's not there, and maybe give your story a little freedom to not have everybody there, because it is D&D.
It is D&D. Scheduling is the greatest BBG. And, I mean, that goes on top of this. Like, you know, Brim's greatest enemy is... his greatest enemy is time. You know? Discord be blowing up. Anyways, yeah, his greatest enemy is scheduling. Brim's games collapse because of scheduling. People have things that come up, they don't show up, but... Just remember, Brim, that happens to everyone.
I know. That's why I don't.
Yeah.
I have vented my frustrations a few times, but for the most part, I think I've been pretty good about, like, things happen.
I mean, we're recording this Friday game, and it's an actual recording, and it's a collab game, but oh man, scheduling is being a pain in the butt. Because everybody wants to play with everybody there, but not everybody can always be there. And it's like, they can be gone for 1 session. You know, it's okay, but yeah, it is what it is. Also, it's the fact that it's kind of the start, and you want everyone there to be the start. And honestly, we love Hulk too much to leave him out. So, but no, it's a pain in the butt. Scheduling's a pain in the butt. I mean, a lot of my games die, and it's not even just because of scheduling. Sometimes, like, I have a concept for an idea, but then I get bored of said idea. Yeah, and it's not.
I've seen that happen in real time.
Yeah, it's like I was just like, I'm bored of this. You guys want to play something else? And some people are like, yeah. Some people are like, no. And you know,
he's done that to me where I've had a really nice character and I'm really enjoying the things, and he's like, I just don't feel like this anymore. Like,
well, that's the thing is, no D&D is better than bad D&D. And if you the DM are absolutely bored of the game that you created, you're running, you should not feel obligated to run it. Because if you're not having fun, your story is not going to be good.
I was a little upset, but I wasn't gonna be like, no, Pat, you have to run this.
You have to run this. Like, no. It's understandable, you know? But, oh yeah, that Adventure Party game that you were talking about, I loved that game. That's one of the games that I got into it with another player because they would. No,
that was before that.
No, the Adventure Party one is the one with the donkey. Yeah, that she kept, like, she purposely brought the donkey along because my character had an issue with donkeys. She was doing, like, literally everything.
Okay, but that was for, like, that was because of, so we brought someone over. They're Australian. We had played several games with them before. Mm-hmm. She does not like Pat for some reason. I don't know why.
Like, I thought when I DM'd for her, she enjoyed it. She had fun. There was no issues whatsoever. But she did have issues with Rapid.
But for some reason, like, Pat as a player, she just couldn't scan.
No.
Like,
I mean, then again, most
actually, like, we did, like,
the island part one, right?
A ship-based game. Yeah. And she fired off all the cannons, was wasting all their ammos. Like, it was, like, an intense ship-based game. Like, there's a lot of mechanics that
we spent a lot of money and time, like, deliberately calculating how much ammunition versus food we needed and all that stuff. So.
It was a more technical. I like more technical games.
Yeah.
I typically, Mithril has pointed this out. Sometimes I don't put in all the work to make the technicalities work fully. So.
He likes the technicals. Sometimes the work is a lot more than it was expected.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, but she fired off all the ammunitions, and this is where, like, yeah, you need to lay down the law sometimes as a DM.
Yeah, and as a DM, you gotta say stop. Like,
I feel like DMs, like, there's no perfect guidebook because, like, there's no guidebook to people because that's the D&D game. It's other people. Like, so
you gotta be flexible. You gotta be flexible.
If you're not playing with people that you know intrinsically, like, have been with them your entire life, you're not gonna know how to DM for them. Like, you can. I'm pretty sure Matt Mercer could probably DM for just about everybody, but he would probably kick people out if they, like, yeah.
He did. He did kick somebody out. He did kick somebody out. Like, somebody that was a friend at the time. Like,
yeah, so, like,
you gotta be okay to say no.
I'm not saying Matt Mercer's the best DM.
No, but like, he's definitely one of. Well, he's in my opinion. He's
definitely, like,
yeah, he's one of the top ones.
I just don't want comments filling up with, like, don't treat Matt Mercer like God. Like, no. There's a reason I don't watch Critical Role.
Yeah, it's a slow story. It's a slow story. And I get that, you know, like, my story isn't fast at any means, but
I like the clips of Critical Role, and I think they're all talented people, so
yeah.
Like,
I'd probably say my favorite DM is Brendan Lee Mulligan.
He's pretty good.
Just his energy that, like, I'm not the same kind of DM he is, so I'll never be like him, but and I'm not trying to be like him. But because I'm a totally different But he is fun to watch. Him as a person is like, I would say, perfect entertainment. He's a perfect entertainer. He's the same kind. He's, in my opinion, I like him as a DM.
I think
or GM.
There's that. There's this aspect of these people are good, they're entertaining, but if you put them in the room with wrong people, they wouldn't seem as entertaining or as good. And I think the fact that these shows work so well is because they have the right people working with them. And so if you're feeling frustrated with your group, because I've actually helped other DMs, and I'm no expert by anything, by any means, but he was having issues I just want them to all be serious and stuff like that, and helping him through that, and you gotta understand these people want certain things from this, and maybe it's not on the same tier, so maybe you can bring things in to make it easier for them to get interested, or talk to them. It's so funny because D&D is 100% communication and math. And DNA, it seems most issues and imagination, but it seems the majority of issues that come from D&D games are communication issues.
Communication issues. Well, I mean, the world just sucks at communication right now. That's the thing.
Everybody for all of time has sucked at communication.
Yeah, it is.
It's just now that everybody has access to everybody's thoughts on the internet. Now everybody's what the hell? Why do you think this?
Yeah, now we're way more opinionated and we can voice our opinions.
People, when you lived in a town and then someone in another town thought a certain way, that whole town could think a way that you find egregious, but because you never went near that town your whole life,
it didn't bother you.
You would never know. It wouldn't bother you.
It wouldn't affect your life at all. Now you say one thing on the internet and you're like, well, I'm gonna get ripped into, much like we're probably going to.
It's people are like, the world has changed. It's no, the world hasn't changed. It's just
we could see it now.
Technology's changed.
Yeah, but all right, well, Brim, I enjoyed having you on, and I would love to have you on Critical Conversations even more, because I feel like we have so much to talk about, especially with the DMG release today for 2024. Me and you, we seem to be getting closer to the same opinion, but
we were on opposite sides.
We were on opposite sides.
But now that they've actually made the changes, I think we're starting to see eye to eye, because I don't
Yeah.
I would say my main favorite thing is the Sorcerer's Burst from the new rules, and that's just because it's a cool spell and it should have been in the game from the beginning.
Yep, but anyways, thank you all for watching Critical Conversations, our Storytellers Tales podcast. Be sure to check out our show, Grand Quest, and stay tuned for January when Out of the Abyss re-releases and continues its story. We got more to come. We got a new show that's in production that I talked about we're recording Friday, called Aftermath. It is an amazing module that was given to us by QuestNest, a fantastic third-party content creator. Check out their stuff. I'll drop a link down in the description. And by talking about links, make sure you check out all of our stuff. I'll drop our Linktree description in there. We've got our social medias, we've got our merch, we've got our Ko-fi if you really want to help us grow this amazing podcast, and so we can do more fantastic things for all of you beautiful people out there. We'll welcome the donation, we'll welcome the support, yeah, we'll see you next time. Hopefully, we can get Brim back on here. I know his schedule is rough, but...
I mean, we have to have me back on here. We didn't get to the nukes.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to the nukes. And the viewers need to know about the nukes. But...
yeah, so...
All right, well, remember, like, subscribe, share our content across that massive interwebs so that everyone can find us, and so that we can find all of those people that are in need of a great story. See you next time.
Peace out. Bye.
Hey adventurers, thanks for tuning in. Remember to smash that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to give some love to your bards.